Hello, this is Eden with HelixxVR. Today I'll be reviewing Galgun 2 Doki Doki VR Mode for the HTC Vive and Oculus Rift. Windows Mixed Reality is not officially supported. It works, but with bad distortion. There is apparently an unofficial fix, which I'll link below. The first thing I'll mention is that Galgun 2 is originally not a VR game. It even released on the PS4 and Nintendo Switch 2. I'll be focusing on my experience playing through Doki Doki VR Mode, which is a DLC for the PC version, which lets you play the entire game in VR. As such, unlike Galgun VR, it's what I'd consider a full game. Galgun 2, which despite the name is actually the fourth game in the series, is quite a unique style of game. The idea is that an angel appears before you, asking for help eliminating demons. She gives you what looks like a VR headset to see them, and weapons to defeat them. For some reason, a side effect of these goggles is that any female becomes infatuated with the wearer, so you'll have girls charging at you everywhere. They'll be shouting their love, trying to kiss you, and even stepping on you, in case any of you are into that. Now, the main gameplay is what I describe as a gallery shooter. You stand in one area while girls and demons pop up and attack you. Some will attack by rushing towards you, while others will shout at you from distance. Each girl has a weak point, which you can shoot to give them ecstasy, so they fall to the ground in pleasure. If you've not guessed yet, while not an X-rated game, it's not exactly one that a lot of people will be comfortable playing in public. The game has story throughout. You'll be able to see the characters moving and talking to you in VR in scenes as the story progresses, and unlike many VR games, there are a lot of story scenes. There is the odd 2D scene shown on the screen, but they're quite rare. As well as story scenes, characters will chat to you about random things, and you can feed them snacks to increase their affection towards you, unlocking further side missions with them. You have 30 in-game days to complete the conditions for the endings, so you have to balance going along the main story missions, side missions, trying to upgrade your equipment, and other events. There are 7 endings in the game, and which one you achieve depends on which missions you complete and which optional scenes you unlock. There are 3 main types of missions: shooting, guarding, and searching. In the shooting missions, you'll clear an area and then teleport onto the next. Each level takes 10 minutes or so. This is the most common type of mission. In addition to shooting them, in any type of mission you can use a Demon Buster, a vacuum gun which sucks up demons, and with upgrades rips off clothes to quickly defeat girls. You gain more points from vacuuming up demons rather than shooting them, so it can be worth doing. In guarding missions, you'll teleport between a few points, protecting girls from demons. They'll have a set amount of health which you'll have to keep up. In search missions, you'll have to go through levels looking for objects and taking down enemies. In addition to the more common type of missions, there are also boss fights and minigames, like a scene where you massage the character, or one where you take photos of her in her swimsuit. Outside of missions, minigames and story, there's what's called the rendezvous feature. If you've gotten a girl's phone number by completing the side mission for them, you can meet them in a variety of locations. This includes tons of different characters, not just the main ones. You can change their outfit, make them go into various poses, and go into Doki Doki mode, which is where you basically inspect their body and shoot demons out of it until most of their clothes come off if you do well enough. Doki Doki mode appears a few times during the missions too. There are a few other features too. You can decorate your room with unlockable items, you can change the outfits of the girls who attack you, and after you get an ending, you can enter New Game Plus, where you restart with your upgrades. There are Steam achievements too, which is always a nice extra. Hidden items to find to get more points, and outside of the story mode, you have the options to play missions in score attack mode too. While this game is obviously a lot more fully featured than many dedicated VR games, it shows its roots in being a non-VR game with a variety of issues. On occasion, you'll intersect your head with an object and the screen will go black. I only had this happen to me a few times, but it's never a good thing. To balance that though, this is happening because I'm able to move about with room scale to get better angles in VR. The entire game is voiced in Japanese, which is expected for these type of games. On occasion, the English subtitles are too wide, making it difficult to see in VR. Long sentences go to the edges of your vision. They're always readable, but just about. Some of the graphics, such as the graphic showing when you get an ecstasy shot, aren't as clear as they could be in VR. A minor one, but the gun doesn't have a proper model, only a blue outline. In the non-VR, it appears to be coming from the Demon Buster vacuum. Finally, if you have a VR headset plugged in, the game launches in VR even if you choose not to. You can stop it launching in VR from properties, but it's not ideal. I'll explain how in the description below. Other than those issues, There are a couple more forgivable things which were probably design choices. There isn't zoom on the gun in VR. I personally never felt like I needed it, and it saves a jarring change between views by removing it. Just from playing a lot of other VR games, it also feels quite odd that I can't use the gun and the Demon Buster vacuum at the same time. I imagine this is due to balance reasons, as it's not possible in the non-VR version. As both are being controlled by different hands though, it feels odd. Graphically, the game can seem slightly blurred at times, but it's nice, bright and colourful. Things up close look good, while sometimes things in the distance aren't as clear as they could be. The sound is great with full voicing by professionals and a nice and varied soundtrack. To play the Doki Doki VR mode, you need to own both the game and the DLC. The DLC itself costs about $7, €6 or £5 if you already own the game. The game itself costs approximately $45, €40 or £33. There's a bundle with a slight discount if you buy both together. I personally don't mind a small charge for the VR DLC, as in the end it is extra work for a small amount of people, and it's not much. It took me 6 hours to get one of the easiest endings to get. I'd estimate about 20 hours to complete all endings and other content, possibly more. It's more expensive than most games, but when compared to other VR games it has quite a lot more content too. To sum up this review, I'm happy to recommend Galgun 2 Doki Doki VR Mode, as long as you know what you're getting into. In the end, this is a game targeted at a certain group of people, and it's not really meant to have a wide appeal. I'm not perfectly happy with the issues introduced in the VR mode, but being up and close with the characters speaking to you adds to the immersion quite a lot. You can move about slightly while shooting to get better angles. If nothing else, it's just one of the few fully featured games which can be played in VR, and the shooting and Demon Buster vacuum use is genuinely quite fun. Once again, this was Eden from HelixxVR. If you'd like to see more content like this, please remember to hit that alert button, like and subscribe.